Welcome to George Floyd Live Talk. My name is Malik Shahid. Our guest today, we have Brian Smith, and we have Quincy Amore, and we have Allison Saunders. How you guys doing today?
Very well.
Doing great. Thank you.
Good. How you doing, Brian? Hold up, Brian. You gotta unmute yourself, Brian. Unmute yourself. How you doing, Quincy?
I'm doing good. You know, it's been an exhausting time, but I'm hills and valleys, and I'm up a hill this time, so I'm looking forward to that.
Keep climbing, Quincy.
Exactly, as much as I can.
We'll get to the mountaintop.
Brian can't hear us. Okay. So what we'll do, this is a new format today. Everyone starts at the beginning and says hello, bonjour, how you doing? And what we're going to do, we're going to have Allison and Brian go backstage, and we're going to start the interview with Quincy. All right?
Works for me.
Backstage. I'm going to put Brian backstage. And we are with Quincy Amore, who is the artistic director of the Black Theater Workshop. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Malik. Good to see you.
You too. So people who aren't familiar with the Black Theater Workshop, let's talk about the history, because it's a very deep-rooted history, not just in Quebec, but in Canada.
Yeah. Actually, Black Theater Workshop is the oldest Black theater company in the country.
Okay.
We're currently this weird year of 2021 is actually our 50th anniversary season, so it's a milestone year for us. We're really looking forward to having a good celebration, but we don't know what it's going to end up being this year, you know?
Quincy, hold on. 50th anniversary, we got this.
Nice. We'll take it, man. Thank you.
50 years, that's amazing.
50 years, it's amazing. I mean, and it really is no small accomplishment. So I'm very, very grateful to all of the artists and folks in the early years, 50 years ago, who created the company. In particular, Clarence Bain, who was an artistic director in the early years. He's still on our board, going strong. So I'm standing on their shoulders right now.
Okay, nice. And I also want to touch on. You guys been so consistent as a company. You know what I mean? It's been 50 years strong, but you guys every year it seems to have consistency. Talk to us about the strength of your consistency as a company.
Well, first of all, thank you for that. Certainly appreciate that. I think the strength of that comes from the people behind it and who run it and who support it, who come to the work with such passion and care. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that the company would have achieved the success that it has had over the past 50 years if people weren't absolutely invested and cared about the success of this company. That's the strength of it. And so when I became the artistic director almost 10 years ago, that's what I wanted to make sure that I brought to make sure that this important company had a voice. And that we were serving the voices of our communities, the many Black communities that the company represents.
Yes.
So that's been a very, very important part of the goal for decades now.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about your latest production. Black and Blue Matters was commissioned by the Black Theater Workshop. It is a piece to the play Sal Capone. And talk to us a little about that. I know it's written by Omari Newton.
Yep.
So talk to us about this new Black and Blue Matters.
Yeah, so Black and Blue Matters, it's a new play that we commissioned that was supposed to premiere this year, but for reasons that probably don't need to be stated, we've had to postpone the show. So we're looking to open it in the 2021-22 season. Okay. But it's written by Omari Newton, who's a local playwright, and it very directly addresses the Black Lives Matter movement that's going on right now. It's a companion piece to Sal Capone that he wrote and that we did in 2013. And that play was written as a direct result or inspired by the shooting death of Freddie Villanueva here in Montreal in 2008.
Okay.
Omari was just moved, shaken, and had to do something, and he put that into his art. And so he created this play that was about a hip hop group where one of them, Samir Frederick, a young Black teenager, was shot 9 times by a local police officer. And It had to do with the rest of his friends, the hip hop band, coping with his death. And so now in Black and Blue Matters, which is a follow-up piece, a companion piece to Sal Capone, it's presented in the style of a rap battle. So it's a hip hop musical. The whole thing is musically wrapped, and it's a battle between Samir Frederick, the black youth who was shot, and David Harrison, the white police officer who shot him.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's pretty wild. So it's supposed to premiere in like we're going through a process right now, and we're hoping to premiere it in the fall, maybe of 2021 or in the spring of 2022.
Okay, and this is originally supposed to be on right now, right? The Black and Blue.
What was supposed to be happening right now is we were invited by the National Arts Center to be a part of a project called Grand Acts of Theater, which they started during COVID to really celebrate live performance, and it was about inviting companies from across the country to create large-scale works outdoors, responsibly, socially distant, speaking to these current times that we are in. So we wanted to do an excerpt from the show. I don't know, am I allowed to swear on the show?
Yeah, you can swear.
Yeah, because the excerpt from that we were going to do is called Black and Blue Matters, Track 1, No One Gives a Fuck About a Cop.
Okay.
And so that's the piece that we were preparing for. It was supposed to be done on October the 11th, the Thanksgiving weekend, on the front steps and courtyard of the St. James Church downtown on St. Catherine Street.
Okay.
But of course, now we're at this red level and public gatherings are not permitted. So we have to make a decision essentially tomorrow as to whether or not we can actually do that event anymore.
Okay.
So it's we'll see. The production will still happen like a year from now or whatever it is, but the event that was supposed to be not this coming weekend, but next weekend, that we have to revisit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, thank God for the Black Theater Workshop that has given jobs and employment, exposure, and visibility to Black playwrights, actors, producers, people behind the scenes. How has the diversity and inclusivity for color actors and Black actors, how has it changed in the last 10 years in Quebec? Is there a change, or is it still stagnant and is still lacking?
It's, you know what, little column A, little column B, it's definitely still lacking, but there has been a little bit of improvement. There's still so much more to go, and particularly in a Montreal or in a Quebec context, it's very different along linguistic lines.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, and this is just my own personal observation, that the Anglophone community in the arts, in theater in particular, is a little bit more advanced in terms of openness, inclusivity, diversity. Our Francophone counterparts, there has been improvement, but they're still a little bit behind.
Yes.
So what I'm hoping for in the next 10 years, let's say, is that there is a desire to be more open, to see more stories about Black people on the French stages in this city. Because honestly, Malik, one of the things that, when we talk about diversity, at least in our industry, there's a little bit of a threshold, right? So it often ends up being just about the diversity of the performer. So we'll see the Black actors on stage, and they'll be working, but often we're not telling our stories, right?
It's true.
I get to be in the show, but I'm telling a white story, and you just cast me in it. As opposed to, where are the Black stories? Where's the Black aesthetic? Where's the Black storytelling practices? Those are the things that we're not seeing as much. And so last year there was a production of Héritage at Jean Sepp, one of the French theater companies. It's the French translation of A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. So it was so great to see that show done. So I'm hoping that we're improving more on the Francophone side, but it's just not moving as fast as I would like it to.
So is there a similar or close equivalent to the Black Theater Workshop on the Francophone side?
Nope.
No.
I know of some artists who are hoping to change that. There's a relatively new theater company on the Francophone side, I think, called Théâtre Sentinelle. A group of young Francophone Black artists who are up and coming, and I've met with them, and they're very ambitious, and I'm hoping that they will succeed and become a counterpart to BTW. That would be great.
Okay, so if you're a young person watching right now, and you want to get into the theater world, not necessarily the big screen acting world, is there two different ways of approaching this, or do you take the same path and decide, okay, I'm going to go theater, I'm going to go to TV or movies? How does that work?
Yeah, it's there's a couple of mindsets to that. For me, they're very different mediums,
Mhm.
but the essence of the work is the same.
Okay.
And so you'll often hear that theater trained actors are the ones. When you're trained in theater, you can more successfully make that transition to work in TV and film and video games, and that it doesn't work as well the other way around.
Okay.
So the best advice that I would give to young people who want to pursue performing acting is, one, get training.
Okay.
There are some excellent theater schools here in the city. There's the National Theatre School of Canada, which runs in English and in French. A couple of the CEGEPs. John Abbott has a great theater program.
Okay.
Concordia University has a great program over there as well. There's other programs, nationwide as well. So get some training, because it's really hard to break into this business when you don't have those basic skills.
Yes.
And once you have that training, work your behind off as much as you can. I graduated from theater school almost 30 years ago, 25 years ago, and the learning, as in any industry, doesn't ever stop, right?
Yeah.
So constantly learning, constantly trying to better myself, and young people need to realize that you can't just go to school, theater school, for 3 years and be like, great, I'm graduated, I'm an actor now. Yeah, you're an actor, but you still work. When you wake up in the morning, you say you're going to work, you got to work. It's what it's called. So, you know what I mean?
And a lot of times, a lot of us just want to be in front of the camera. You're an artistic director. Tell us the role of an artistic director, and what are the other roles that people can play in the industry other than being on stage or in front of the camera?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm the artistic director of Black Theatre Workshop, which basically means that I am responsible for the artistic vision of the company.
Okay.
And to break it down a little bit, I select the plays that we produce. I'm responsible for bringing together the artistic team, the actors, the director, the design team. All of that basically comes with me upon approval of our board of directors as well. Okay. And so it's really about taking a very wide, global, holistic look at the organization as a whole. So when other people might be focusing on one production, I'm looking at a season, or I'm looking at a cycle of programming over a 2 or 3 year period, kind of thing. But in terms of other roles other than being on stage, the actors, there's, we have our directors who play a huge role in the work that we do.
Okay.
We have some fantastic designers, set designers, costume, lighting, sound. We've got many people who work behind the scenes in terms of production, and technical direction, stage management. So there's many different areas or teams of people that come together to put a full production together. It really is takes a village kind of situation.
Okay, nice. So we're gonna put you backstage and hang up backstage with our other guests, and we're gonna bring on Allison Saunders, the co-opted commissioner, to talk about her role at the school board.
Sounds good.
Right? All right. So up next, we have Allison Saunders, who is entering the stage. How are you today? Oh, turn on your mic.
I've been trying to reach you. You're not live on Facebook, friends. My friends are messaging me, telling me they can't see me and they can't see your interview.
It's on Malik Shahid 99.
I know they're on your page, friend. They can't see you.
I just saw it. Right now. Yeah, it's on Malik Shahid 99.
You're live on Malik Shahid 99. Well, I don't know what to tell. Anyways, okay, well, let's go. So we'll keep going.
Yeah,
it's recording. They can watch later.
Okay. So you are a co-opted school commissioner for the Leslie Pearson School Board, and we have English school board elections that are happening right now, and you are running for a commissioner in Ward 4.
That's correct.
Tell us, what is a commissioner, a role of a commissioner, and what is a Ward 4?
So Oh, that's okay. That's a loaded question. So, the role of commissioner is to represent the school district. So, the whole Lester B. Pearson or English School Board territories are divided by wards. Each ward represents a different district, and each district has a bunch of different schools within it. The commissioner that represents that ward is the person who is responsible for representing those schools and centers and parents and community at the council table. So where decisions are being made by the council commissioners of the school board, this commissioner is the person who is the voice of that ward or that community. So I'm running to represent the people of Point Claire. Well, Ward 4 is mostly Point Claire. It's not all of Point Claire, but a lot of it. So, and the part that I live in. So.
Okay, cool. Now we know, some of us may not know, but what's happening right now is the English school boards have school boards, and the French schools are now called school boards are now called school centers. So
Service centers, that's right.
Service centers. So I know the Quebec government has gone to court trying to force the English school boards to become school centers. That's the word?
Service centers.
Service centers.
Service centers, that's
Service
right.
centers. And unfortunately, the judge and the courts have sided with the English school boards. So the Quebec government is trying to limit the democratic rights of the English language minority in the province by trying to abolish the school boards and replacing them with service centers under Bill 40. This has done, which has been done to the French school board. So what does this mean to Allison Saunders?
What does this mean to Allison Saunders? It means a lot to Allison Saunders. So as a part of the English minority, it's really important, I think, that we maintain the rights that we have to democratically elect the people that make the decisions for our communities, our schools, and the places that our children go and become parts of our society. So I mean, I believe in democracy. And so any affront to that is an affront to me and my rights. But interestingly, French parents don't have the same rights that we do. So it's kind of, you know, we all talk about equality and inclusion and diversity, et cetera, but we live in a separate but not equal world. But, you know, what does it mean for me? It means that I have certain rights that I want to protect, and that there are people that are fighting hard to protect them for me. And one of the ways that I can show that is by participating in the democratic process and trying to be a part of the voice. One of the challenges with that voice too is it's not very diverse. So here's an opportunity to change it up. So why not step up and be part of that change? But at the same time, you know what? Parents and people in the community, like, don't squander your right, because people are fighting to keep it. So, and the way you can do that is voting. If it's a vote for me, great, and I'll take it. But at the same time, just please go out and exercise your democratic right to do it.
That's right, people. It's very, very important that if your child is part of an English school board, there's many English school boards across the province of Quebec. It's very important that you go out and write. Call your school board, go on your school board's website and find out where the elections are happening so you can go and vote. And more importantly, make sure that you are registered to vote, because if you're not registered to vote, you can't vote.
Exactly. So it's a little complicated, and it's kind of annoying. The government doesn't make it easy. So, hey, it's all kinds of hoops, and it's sort of, again, systematic issues in life, right? Doesn't make it easy for people to exercise their right. So it is complicated. You do need to make sure that you're on the Anglophone voter list. It's not, it's restricted to parents with children in the English system. So if your children go to a French school and you're an Anglophone, you're not allowed to vote. But you don't need to have children to be eligible to vote. So if you live in the district where there's an election happening, you have the opportunity to cast a vote and participate in this democratic process.
Okay, cool. And as a commissioner who will be hopefully voted in the upcoming elections, what is your platform and what do you stand for?
Well, I will say simply this. One, with the death of George Floyd, it's tipped off a whole lot of things just in my personal life, where I woke up one day and I realized that a lot of the places that I operate in my life don't treat me and my children equally. And one of those places is you know, my place of business. So I'm lucky that I'm part of the change there. Part of it's in my community. So having rallies and getting people, you know, interested in social justice, that's a way that I've worked it there. But at school as well, it's going to be as a council, it's an opportunity to be that diverse voice and be that change of that system. And so that's part of my platform. And one of the nice parts one thing I can appreciate, let me say that, is that a counselor who was in Ward 4, Josh Arliss, made a path for you, Malik, and for me.
That's right.
And, that was a courageous and bold move. And it was great because it did diversify the voice of council. But, hey, it's the roll of the dice. And guess what? It's an election time. So now, lucky for you, Malik, I'm so happy that you are commissioner-elect. That's fantastic. So no longer are you just the co-opted voice.
Yes.
You are part of the system.
I can vote now.
You can vote now. So now that's what I'm seeking. So that again, part of my platform is that, hey, Josh paved the way to get us in the door. Now let's give us now the opportunity to really represent our community and for the reasons that we were brought there. And also the task force is coming with recommendations. So we got to make sure that we have the right voices at the table to receive those recommendations and make sure that they're implemented in ways that make sense for our children, no matter what color they are. So that's me in a nutshell. So I've been doing the work for a long time, since my child was in pre-kindergarten and back in 2000, I don't know what, but it's been a while. And, I want to continue to do the work. And now it's great because I actually have been sought out for my opinion. So that's kind of cool.
And I want to also commend the Leslie Person School Board for, taking some steps for, having 2 cooperative commissioners, also having the task force that's looking into racism and discrimination in the school boards. How important do you feel that other school boards should follow suit the same way the Leslie Person School Board stepped up to the plate?
So I'm going to say not a loaded question, but I'm going to reveal some of my cards. One of my children goes to an EMSB school. So he was a Lester B kid. He graduated. He started grade 7 this year, and he's at an EMSB school. So I'm very invested in this work. It doesn't stop at wards. Like the Lester B. Pearson is only one part of the community that my children operate in. I have 2 children that are in both of those communities, and we live in the same house. So it's great. You're absolutely correct. I commend the Lester B. Pearson School Board for stepping up and admitting that they need to do the work and that they're getting committed to do the work. I really hope, though, that I can be. I don't want to have the same commissioner role in that school board, but I'm a parent at that school board, and I can go to governing board meetings at the school my child goes to. I can go to parent committee meetings at the school board when they happen. I'm going to learn how that system works so that I can represent my child. And it's not just me. I'm not the only person who can do this. Every parent has the right to do this. So again, it's just, I want to pave the way for people to understand the power that they have in their hands to make change, because it's really frustrating when you're complaining on Facebook about girls who are, dancing in a video or a really messed up yearbook. That's only part of the problem. It's way bigger than that.
Okay. Why don't you talk to us about parents committees, governing board, for parents who are watching who aren't familiar with those terms?
Oh, yeah. So I will say that what I went to an annual general meeting when my child was in pre-kindergarten. So this is going way back. And I sat at a meeting and I had no idea what was going on, but I went. Okay. And at that meeting, so at your school's annual general meeting, that is where your school governance is elected. Again, it's a democratic process. Okay. So unfortunately, most of those elections have happened because there was a bit of a rush to get them done in September this year, mostly. Yeah. But so most of the AGAs have happened. But again, that's where that democratic process that's where that school governance is elected. So then your governing board is formed. Governing board is made up of your parents, and teachers and a principal and commissioners. So Malik, you're going to start showing up at governing board meetings. Get ready for the schools that are in your ward, right? Yes, so same with me when elected, same thing. So I'll show up at the governing board meetings in my ward as well. So being part of the process. But the thing about governing boards is that, yes, there are certain rules and restrictions in the process of the system, but at the same time, they're open to the public. And so not just parents, the public, anybody can go to a governing board meeting. You just have to know where they are. And schools publish them on their websites. So you can go read the minutes, see what happens. You can go find out, ask questions. I know this is a long, complicated answer, but bear with me. So at governing boards, every governing board elects a parent to represent them at the parents committee. The parents committee is made up of one parent and an alternate parent from every school in the Lester B. Pearson School Board, and they meet monthly. So that's its own committee, and that committee is another stepping stone to the Council of Commissioners. So again, if you're a parent and you want to know school governance, well, that's the flow. It starts at your governing board, it makes its way to its parents committee, and then the parents committee makes its way to council, and there's parents represented at every level of that step at every school. So and that's where policies are, voted on. So at the council level, that's where the decisions are made. But council has consultations. They're going to ask the community what they think, and those go to the governing board. So if you want to know about the bullying policy at the Lester B. Pearson School Board, your governing board at the local elementary school is talking about it, and they're voting on it, and they're making recommendations to make all the way up the chain. So again, it's kind of a bureaucratic and long process, but again, go sit at a meeting, ask a question, talk to a commissioner who can help you through the process, talk to your parent rep, because again, they're learning the process, or they're well seasoned as well. And again, you have representation so that you can make your concerns heard, because the biggest complaint I hear is parents go to their principal and the principal shuts them down or doesn't take them seriously.
Yeah.
Principals at the governing board, I don't want to throw principals under the bus, but this just like principals are at the governing board meeting and you're a parent. You can go, you can ask a question and he has to answer you or she has to answer you. And that answer is public and it's in the minutes of your meeting.
Yes.
So when the teacher, when the principal dismisses you because he doesn't believe that thing happened or whatever, well, it's now public and you can now hold that principal accountable for that conversation. And not only that, your parent rep can bring that to the parents committee and say, hey, at my school, this is happening. And guess what? We find out it's happening at another school too, and another school too. And now there's a subcommittee at the parents committee table that is looking at the issue around whatever it is, litterless lunches, bullying. There's so many conversations. They're not all negative. Some of them are super positive. A lot of change happens at that table. And those parents, they bring it up to the council. So now you're going to hear them and you're going to get to say your piece on them at the table and start making, again, smart decisions that are not just representative of the old school council. So,
yeah. All right. So Allison, what we're going to do, we're going to have you backstage hanging out with Quincy. We're going to the financial literacy expert, Brian Smith, join us right now.
So let me just say quickly, Brian Smith came to a parents committee and gave a presentation on financial literacy. So I'm telling you, parents committee, check it out.
All right. Thank you. So up next, we have Mr. Brian Smith, who is going to join us right now. How you doing, Brian?
I'm all right. Just here watching some NBA finals, but it's all about, the Malik show right now.
Who's winning right now? Who's winning?
Well, you know what? Miami was up 13, but the Lakers have come back, so Miami's up 2 right now.
Okay, cool. So let me introduce you. Brian Smith is a financial literacy facilitator, and he's also the Quebec Vice President of the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education.
Exactly.
So you've been involved in financial literacy for many years. Talk to us about the importance and your love for being a financial facilitator.
Well, years ago when I was working at an organization, Carrefour Jeunesse Emploi Côte-Neige, I was working with a lot of youth as far as, an employment counselor, helping kids find jobs. Some of them, help them start up their business or conceptualize their businesses. And I was introduced to financial literacy by this gentleman named Casey Cosgrove, God rest his soul. It was working at an organization called SETI, which is now Prosper Canada. So from there, I went to a couple of workshops talking about financial literacy, and I said, you know what, this is a natural fit because this is something that's not taught in schools. Nobody ever really had any discussions about money. Everybody growing up, I want to have money, but then there's a lot of decisions that come around, making money, making choices around money, how to be a conscious shopper, how to make better decisions, plan for the future, and this is something that needs to be done. So I started up a project at the Carrefour Jeunesse Emploi Côte-Neige, which was called Money Money. And now I've moved on to the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education.
Okay.
And, so and it just allows me to spread the love of financial literacy across Quebec and Canada.
Okay, so let's talk about the project Youth Leaders of Tomorrow. And we're working on this project together, and part of this project is giving Black youth an opportunity to be mentored and learn about financial literacy, multimedia, and many other things. So talk to us about this project, please.
Yeah, the Youth Leaders of Tomorrow project, it's a collaboration with the USTARS Foundation, the Montreal Community Cares Foundation, and the Money Project. And what we're looking to do is to provide youth the opportunity to gain some skills, get mentored. We're talking about financial literacy, multimedia, things that are, for them to develop skills so that they can compete in the world of today. So, and sometimes it's just basically, identifying the need and then just, getting the resources, bring people together, bring in some professional people who want to give back to the community. And I think that's one of the strengths of the program is that we have access to professionals in the community who are willing to give back. And this project, if you're a parent out there and you want your kids to develop some skills that are needed in today's world, you need to get in contact with the Youth Leaders of Tomorrow project.
Yeah, so you can go to youthleadersoftomorrow.com to find out more information about that project, youthleadersoftomorrow.com. Send us an email. You can also call the number that's on there.
Yeah, 514-817-3941. The project started up actually last September, and due to the COVID pandemic, we had to put the project on pause, and we had to reorganize it. So, we're just trying to find ways to keep contact with the youth. I mean, because it's something that's needed out there, and even something as well. Financial literacy during the COVID pandemic there's so many teaching moments that we could come up with and use. I mean, if you told somebody, Malik, there'd be a time in the world where nobody would take cash. You'd say that the person's crazy, but that's actually what took place.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things too lead up to a lot of conspiracies out there, as well as people figure, what, do they want to get rid of cash? Is there going to be another kind of means for people to spend their money, which there is, so there's a lot of opportunities out there to learn, about financial literacy. Even now, we've gone back in the red zone, and unfortunately, there's a lot of businesses that are also going to be taking a bigger hit. It's a sad situation, but that's the reality of the world that we live in right now. So,
yeah,
you have to plan for a rainy day.
Yeah, and financial literacy is so crucial and is a key of survival right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, so for parents listening, what tips would you tell them, or what would you say to them, the importance of starting their kids at a young age learning financial literacy? Because like I was telling people, at USTARS, we start financial literacy as early as the age of 5 years old.
Exactly. No, I mean, I think kids or everybody, kids are really introduced to money at an earlier age. They see products, they see things, they may ask mom and dad for, they want to get this item, this product. But I think one of the main things that a parent you can actually do is to, one, start to have talks about money with your kids. But also at the same time, I think it's very, very important that the kids know the value of it. You know what I mean? Maybe they see the parents out there working hard, doing their things, but to understand, that there's value. Money could be a friend of yours, but it could also be an enemy if you don't know how to manage it properly. So getting to the kids younger and having them understand about what's taking place, that's the better.
Okay, good. So people, we are online right now with Brian Smith, who is a financial literacy facilitator. Remember, the program that he is running is called Youth Leaders of Tomorrow. You can go to youthleadersoftomorrow.com. It's a program created for Black youth that has financial literacy, multimedia, entrepreneurship, politics, many things that you can benefit. It's basically free of charge. There's just a registration fee, but take advantage of it while you can. and it will be online and in person. So if you're not comfortable coming in person, you can definitely take the lessons online every Saturday. Okay. So what I'm going to do, Brian, now is I'm going to bring back the rest of the team on. But before I do that, do you have any last words you'd like to say?
No, well, people, as I said, I hope everybody's staying safe. As I said, if you want more information, go on to our website, youthleadersoftomorrow.com, or just give us a call at 514-817-3941. Very accessible to, provide assistance for the youth, for the parents. And as I said, if you're somebody out there who's a mentor, or you're a professional and you want to find a way to give back to the community, just get in touch with us as well. Our doors or streams are open for people to participate.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add back Quincy. I'm going to add back Allison back to the George Floyd live talk. And I want to thank you guys for coming on. But I also want to talk about justice for Joyce. I don't know if you guys heard last Thursday, Joyce Ekchakan, who's 37 years old, went to the hospital because she was having stomach problems. And they gave her morphine even when she refused because she has a pacemaker. And in the video, which she took her camera and filmed live on Facebook, you can hear her screaming and asking for help from the people at the hospital. And a few minutes later, she died. But what's really disturbing about this video is that there was really a lot of racist comments from the hospital staff, a lack of respect towards this indigenous woman who was coming for help. Did you guys get a chance to hear about that or see the video?
I didn't see the video, but I heard about it. And as I said, it's very, very disturbing. But you know what? These things take place all the time across the world. So we can't really say that, it's surprised. I guess they're kind of more desensitized when you hear these things. But as I said, it's atrocious.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on it, Allison?
I have so many. First of all, if the video comes your way, don't watch it. There's no reason to watch it. We know what's in it, and the thing that bugs me is that that's the one on video. That happens every day, everywhere. It happens in the metro, happens on the bus, happens in the shopping center, happens everywhere. I live not far from Dorval. There's a lot of indigenous people that pass through there. It's awful how we treat people. And I know we look around the world and we're just, no, it's here in our community. And it's outrageous that today is Orange Shirt Day. And so the Lester B. Pearson School Board encourages Orange Shirt Day. And that's amazing to get our children to talk about residential schools. Yeah. But guys, this happened 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And the women were fired, apparently, for this, but they'll go get a job somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right. And we were hearing about how in the Francophone community and the theater community, they're like a little bit behind the ball with some of this conversation. I used to work at CBC Radio Canada, so I had my foot in both camps of that artistic organization, and I have to tell you, they are behind, and it's sad. It's sad because you have to fight to be just. Anyway, I can go on forever, but long story short, that these stories are, and so the girls, the John Rennie and the Yearbook at Lindsay, and then this one, how many more stories do we need to see and hear about before people start making real change? Because it can't keep happening. It is atrocious.
Yeah.
It's awful, and it shouldn't happen. Nobody deserves that. It happens to just one more thing. It happens to Black people. I read a horrible story about this woman who took her teen son to the hospital because he was having a heart issue, and they assumed he was high, and no, and they sent him home, and he died. And it turned out the guy had a preventable heart condition, but it was treatable. Had they treated him, he would have lived. But somebody's biased about a Black teen in a hoodie or with dreads. I have one of those teens. My kid died because somebody thought he was high. Man, I'm telling you, and it happens every day in our community. So, not south of the border. Anyway.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing too, because we talk about the teens. I think about across any age in the Black community and Indigenous communities. I think about my parents who were in their 70s and 80s, and that their health is not what it used to be many years ago. They have to go into the hospital. I am so concerned about the kind of treatment that they're going to get when they go to the hospital if I or one of my brothers is not there with them to watch and pay attention to what's happening. It's so scary, and what happened with Joyce is beyond infuriating. I've read about it. I'm with you, Allison. I have not watched it. I will not watch it. I do not need to have that.
Don't pass it on. Delete it.
Yeah,
those
exactly.
digital footprints, those kids don't need to see their mom treated this way. Delete it. It's not meant to be on the internet. And I'm just going to quickly use it as a quick segue. So the hospital network is turned into service centers. That happened a few years ago. That the whole hospital network was turned into service center. And as an Anglophone, my mother was ill in her lifetime, and dealing with a hospital system is difficult. And as a service center, it's even more difficult, especially as an Anglophone person or an Indigenous person. So don't let that happen to the English school system, because that's what's coming. So vote on November 1st, because you have the right to do it, and people are fighting to keep that right. So don't waste it.
That's right. Vote for Allison Saunders. Ward 4.
Just vote.
Harrison School Board. Vote for Allison Saunders. Another thing I want to touch on. Have you guys heard of the Colors of COVID? So basically, the Colors of COVID is asking people here in Quebec to go and do a survey. You can go to thecolorsofcovid.com, and it takes 90 seconds to do a survey on COVID. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but 83% of the people of Toronto that are suffering from COVID are people of color and Black people. And the Quebec government refuses to take data on who is suffering from COVID. So this is why it's very important, and we encourage people to go to thecolorsofcovid.com, take 90 seconds of your life to fill in this survey so we know what communities are being affected. What are your thoughts of data-based results?
Oh, we need to have, you just mentioned, database results so we could track and see, where people are getting sick, who's getting sick. Once again, here in the province of Quebec, we do things differently. Kudos to the government of Ontario, who is, seems to, taking the lead in the initiative for these types of things. And I would only hope that one day that the Quebec government, the existing government right now, the CAC, with Mr. Legault, would actually open up his eyes and say, you know what, we need to do these things. And, I guess it's the culture of Quebec that allows these things to take place. But we can do better. We could do much better. That's why the Colors of COVID came about, because you know what? The government is not taking the initiative for this. So we can do it. And I think that's important for everybody out there to say, you know what, just because the government, whatever level they are, and say, you know what, we're not going to do it. If we have the means to do it, right, and it's not always a financial thing, but just basically getting people together who have a common drive and a common purpose, we can get things done.
Okay. What do you have to say, Allison? I know you want to say something, Allison.
I was going to say power of the people, and you're absolutely right, Brian. I entered the data, I filled it out, and you're so right. So my boss, at the early start of COVID back in March, we were trying to figure out what's going to happen. Are they going to send us home? What's going on? And my boss literally looked at us. He said, you all are waiting for us to tell you what to do. If you just all decided you didn't feel safe coming to work and you didn't come, what would I do about it? I'm like, damn, you're so right, right? And I mean, it's just a simple mind switch. So same with if the government's not going to collect the data for you, we've got data scientists in our community, and it happened. We built this database, and I filled it out, and the data's rolling in. So now the government can't ignore the data, though. Hi, guys, look at all of this data. So now it's time to make some change. So,
definitely. What are your thoughts
90
on
seconds.
Same. Like we just have to find new and innovative ways of making sure that we hold the government accountable. And that's exactly what this is doing. If they're not going to do it, then we're going to do it for them. And they're going to have no choice but to respond, but to react to what is happening around them. And that's what we got to keep doing. It's not ideal, and it shouldn't have to be that way. But at the same time, we have to respond to the realities that we are being faced with. And if we got to take it on, then we got to take it on.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important also that we as a Black community step up to the plate and stop always waiting for other people to do it for us. We have to do it on our own. And I think the colors of COVID is a great example of people in the Black community taking initiative to get something done. You know? So I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. Allison Saunders, Co-opted Commissioner at the Leslie Pearson School Board. We got Artistic Director Quincy Amore. We got Brian Smith, the Financial Facilitator. And looking forward to seeing what you guys will be doing in the future, and all the best in your endeavors. And this is Malik Shahid. You're watching George Ford Live Talk, and we out. One love. Peace, guys.
Yeah.
All right, take care, guys.